Welcome back to Grammar Grade 10. This is Unit 11, Lesson 77, and today we're working on one of the most useful comma habits in all of English, the comma that closes an opener. Sentences don't always begin with their subject. Something can go out in front, and when it does, a comma often has to mark where that front part ends. We'll look at participial phrases, prepositional phrases, adverb clauses, and one small contrasting phrase with a very big name. Let's get into it. Let's lay out the shape of the whole lesson first. A sentence does not have to begin with its subject. Something can go in front of it, and when something does, a comma often has to close it off. Three kinds of openers show up again and again. A participial phrase, which always takes a comma, a prepositional phrase, which sometimes takes one, and an adverb clause, which takes a comma when it leads. Then there is a fourth job, a phrase that sits inside the sentence and contrasts with what came before it. In every case, the comma is doing the same small thing. It marks where the opener ends and the main sentence begins. Let's start with the opener that never gives you a choice, the participial phrase. Back in Lesson 21, you met participles, verb forms ending in ing or ed that act like adjectives. When a participial phrase leads a sentence, it is always followed by a comma. Listen. Startled by the thunder, comma, the dog bolted. Startled by the thunder is an ed participle describing the dog, and that comma is not optional. It is required every single time. Here's another one. Humming softly, comma, Marcus wiped the counter. Humming softly is an ing participle describing Marcus, and again, the comma is required. So carry this away clean. An introductory participle always takes a comma. No length test, no judgment call, no exceptions. Next up, the prepositional phrase. Those little preposition plus object units you met in Lesson 19. Here, the comma is a judgment call, and length is what decides it. Look at the first sentence. After the long drive through the mountains, comma, we slept. That is a long opener. In fact, it is two prepositional phrases stacked together. So we close it with a comma. The rule of thumb, use a comma after a long introductory phrase, or after the last phrase in a string of them. Now the second sentence. In spring, the garden wakes. That is a single short phrase, only 2 words, and the sentence reads perfectly well without any comma. So we usually leave the comma out. Long or stacked, use it. Short and simple, you usually don't need it. Now here's the exception that makes the short phrase rule interesting, and honestly, it is the most fun sentence in this lesson. Sometimes even a short opener must have a comma, because without one, the reader trips. Look at this. Before eating, the family said grace. Read that with no comma, and it says something alarming. Before eating, the family. It sounds like somebody is about to eat the family. The phrase reaches forward and swallows the subject. Now add the comma. Before eating, comma, the family said grace. One tiny mark, and the meaning snaps right into place. So the real rule is this. Even a short phrase takes a comma whenever the sentence could be misread without it. And one last case pointing the other direction. Inside the old chest lay the letters. Here a verb, lay, comes immediately after the phrase. And when a verb follows the phrase directly, you use no comma at all. Third opener, the adverb clause. From Lesson 28, remember that an adverb clause is a whole subordinate clause. It carries its own subject and its own verb. And it begins with a word like when, because, if, although, or unless. With an adverb clause, position is everything. Listen. When the bell rang, comma, we packed up our books. The clause comes first, so we close it off before the main sentence starts. But flip the sentence around and the comma disappears. We packed up our books when the bell rang. Now the clause trails at the end, and it needs no comma at all. So hold on to this pair. Leads, comma, trails, no comma. Last piece, and it is a small, elegant one, the antithetical phrase. Antithetical simply means contrasting. It is a phrase that pushes back against the word right before it, and it is usually signaled by not, unlike, or but. Because it interrupts the flow of the sentence, you set it off with commas, one on each side. Here is the first. She, not Michael, should have been elected. The phrase not Michael contrasts with she, and it sits between two commas. Here is the second. Sheep, unlike cows, don't damage a field. Unlike cows qualifies the word sheep, and again, a comma goes on each side. So whenever a phrase turns and contradicts or qualifies the word before it, fence it in with commas. Let's turn all of that into a check you can run in about a second. Question 1. Does the sentence open with a participle or a participial phrase? Then a comma, always. No thinking required. Question 2. Does it open with a prepositional phrase? Use a comma if that phrase is long, or if several are stacked together, or if leaving the comma out would let the reader misread the line. But skip the comma if a verb comes right after the phrase. Question 3. Is the opener an adverb clause? Comma when it leads, no comma when it trails. And question 4. Is there a phrase that contrasts, marked by not or unlike? Fence it with commas on both sides. 4 questions, and every one of them is really asking the same thing. Where does the opener end? Let's practice. In this first set, I'll give you a sentence with the comma left out. You decide whether the opener needs one. Pause the video and choose before I reveal each answer. Rushing to the net, the player hit a drop shot. Run question 1. Does it open with a participle? Rushing is an ing form describing the player, so this is an introductory participial phrase, and those always take a comma, no matter how short they are. So the answer is comma after net. In spring, the tulips return. This one opens with a prepositional phrase, but look how short it is, only 2 words, and there is no way to misread it. A single short opener like that needs nothing. So the answer here is no comma needed. Although the sky darkened, we kept walking. The word although starts an adverb clause, and that clause is leading. It comes ahead of the main sentence. A leading adverb clause takes a comma, so the answer is comma after darkened. Now for the harder calls, the sentences where the rule bends, or where a comma is the only thing standing between you and a very strange picture. Same idea. Pause, decide, then check. While we were cooking, the dog stole the bread. Read it with no comma and you get something horrifying. While we were cooking, the dog. The clause reaches forward and grabs the subject. A leading adverb clause takes a comma anyway, and here, that comma also rescues the meaning. So the answer is comma after cooking. Under the cracked stone step lay a rusty key. The opener is fairly long, so you might reach for a comma, but check what comes next. The very next word is lay, and lay is a verb. When a verb follows the introductory phrase immediately, you use no comma. So the answer is no comma needed here. The cat, unlike the dog, ignored the visitors. The words unlike the dog contrast the cat with the dog. So that is an antithetical phrase sitting right inside the sentence. It needs a comma on each side of it. So the answer is commas around unlike the dog. Let's gather it all up. An introductory participial phrase always takes a comma. Startled by the thunder, comma, the dog bolted. A prepositional opener takes a comma when it is long, when several are stacked, or when leaving it out would let the reader misread the sentence, but not when a verb comes right after the phrase. An adverb clause takes a comma when it leads, and no comma when it trails. And an antithetical phrase, a contrast marked by not or unlike, gets a comma on each side. Every one of those commas is doing the same quiet work, showing your reader exactly where the opener stops. Practice hearing that little pause, and the commas will start placing themselves. I'll see you in the next lesson.